Before we begin today's conversation, I want to take a moment to prepare your heart for the story you're about to hear. Today we sit with Cierra and Duane Butler, the parents of Ahmad, Captain Poodaman Butler. Together, they share what no parent ever imagines having to live through, watching their child fight the hardest battle of his life. This episode is not just about illness, it's about love that refuses to break, courage in the face of fear, and the unimaginable strength parents find when standing beside their child in the fight of a lifetime. Through their voices, you'll hear the moments of hope, the moments of heartbreak, and the deep, enduring love that defined Ahmad's journey. This is their lived experience and the legacy of a superhero who showed the world what true bravery looks like. Because Ahmad, Captain Poodaman Butler, didn't lose his battle. He showed us how to win. This is episode 4, part 1, Through the Eyes of His Parents, the legacy of Ahmad, Captain Poodaman Butler, the life that sparked a movement. Hey guys, welcome back to a Hope for a Cure podcast. It is our pleasure, just so that everyone knows, to give this protected space to these families. Space for them to share whatever is on their hearts. I'm LaTanya Morrison.
And I'm Jason Collins. Thank you for joining us for another episode of A Hope for a Cure podcast. In our episode, grandparents of a superhero, LaTanya and Keith, shared their story as Ahmad's grandparents, what it meant to walk beside him during his battle with cancer, and how his life inspired the creation of the Ahmad Butler Foundation.
But today we're going to continue that story, but from another perspective. This episode is deeply personal to me because today you will hear from the two people who knew Ahmad most intimately, his parents.
Every superhero has an origin story. And today, we're honored to hear the story of Ahmad Butler, also known to many as Captain Poodaman, through the eyes of the two people who loved him first.
Yes, Ahmad's life sparked a movement. His courage and his humor, his strength, and his light inspired not only our family, but families and communities across the country. But before there was this foundation, before there was advocacy, before there was a movement, there was a simple little boy who was loved deeply.
In this episode, Cierra and Duane will share their journey as Ahmad's parents, from the moment their lives changed forever to the legacy their son continues to leave behind.
This conversation is heartfelt, honest, at moments sad, but very powerful. It's the story of love, courage, and the kind of strength that only parents can truly understand.
And we invite you to listen with open hearts.
And because this is such a detailed story, we have to tell it in two parts. And we are just going to jump right to my favorite segment, which is the superhero segment.
The superhero segment.
So, Jason, are you ready to welcome Cierra and Duane to the
I
show?
am. I'm excited. Yes, much. Very excited too.
Yes, I'm excited too. So let's bring them on.
Let's do it.
Please join us as we welcome Ahmad's parents, Cierra and Duane. Cierra and Duane, thank you both for being here with us today and welcome to the show.
Hello,
Hey,
thanks for
welcome.
having
How you
us.
doing?
Yeah, so welcome to the show, guys. And as always, during this segment, Latanya and I turn off the camera and give the spotlight to the story. We're going to do the same thing again here, as always. Before we begin, um, I want to know a little bit more about Ahmad. Before cancer ever even entered the picture, who was Ahmad?
Ahmad was okay. So Ahmad was the baby of the bunch. So of course we loved all of our kids, but he was the baby. So with the baby being a baby, he was always just like, that's the little baby. He was an amazing kid. He was like the type of kid that he was. It just was like, how everybody says their kid does this and their kid does that. No, this little boy did everything. And it's like he did everything almost perfect. From sports to jokes to how kind he was, even though he was the youngest sibling, he acted like the oldest sibling. It was very weird. He cared about everybody else's feelings. Like even before he got sick, he always cared how everybody else was feeling. Amaya had a bubbly personality, but I feel like he had a piece of everybody in our house's personality. It depends on the mood he was in. He could be competitive sometimes. He could be silly sometimes. It just depends on whatever mood he was in. He took a little bit of everybody's personality.
I think Ahmad played like the big little brother when
Yeah,
it came
right.
to his brother Shad.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, he was the big little brother. He was always explaining to Shad all the questions that Shad answered. I mean, asked. Ahmad could answer them. He would say this, explain something, then tell him that's why. And that was always what he did with Shad. But he was little brother to Ashe all the
Like,
time.
and that's why.
Yes, he had all the answers.
The moment you first realized something wasn't right, what do you remember most?
Okay. For these questions, I do want to say I do have my tissues. If I do start to cry, it's okay.
If there's anything I ask that you don't feel comfortable with answering, please, then we can move forward.
No,
Okay.
I'm fine with it. It's very therapeutic, so I'm fine with that.
And this is
Okay.
this is both of your safe space, and you have
Absolutely,
a
yes.
right to cry.
Take
Okay.
advantage of it. Really take advantage of it.
Okay.
Take us back to the moment you first realized something wasn't right. What do you remember most?
Okay. I will say that a lot of these days, it's a little blurry, so I can tell you what I remember the way I remember it. So I remember for about a few weeks straight, Amaya kept saying, my brain hurt. And it was weird. He kept on saying, my brain hurt. And I'm like, your brain hurt? What do you mean your brain hurt? He like, my brain hurt. He didn't say he had a headache. He said, my brain hurts. And I remember I was in my room and I heard him on the phone because they had phones. They had cell phones. I remember him being on, they didn't have phones. Ashe had a phone. So I remember him taking Ashe's phone and him talking to someone. I'm like, oh my, who you out there talking to? And he like, oh, nobody. And whoever he was talking to, I don't know if it was my mom, I don't know if it was my grandmom, I don't know if it was my uncle, but I know he was like, my brain hurt. And I'm like, who are you talking to? So we went through a long process of getting him tests. First we went to urgent care. And I remember I told my mom, like, I took him to urgent care and we took him to urgent care. And my mom was like, urgent care is not really accurate. I was like, they told me it was a viral infection. They gave me medicine for him. We gave it to him and he would be okay. Then later on, he would complain about it again. So after the urgent care visit, I believe we called his doctor's office. And when we called his doctor, he got a sick visit. Uh, if it wasn't that day, it was the very next day, but this was all within 2 weeks. And the doctor went to see him, and the doctor's asking him, what's wrong? And he's like, my brain hurts. So the doctor did all types of tests, and they wanted to see if his balance was good. So they tested his balance, which his balance was perfect. So that was you're not gonna be able to tell from his balance. So they did all types of tests, and they said it was a viral infection again. So the very next day he had school in the morning, and I'm thinking he's being a kid that does not want to get up and go to school. He liked recess. He liked his friends. He did not like doing work.
Right.
So I'm thinking he just don't feel like getting up because every morning, the same thing that I did when I was younger, I didn't want to get up in the mornings, especially over the weekend. I'm thinking he didn't want to get up for school. So I'm like, boy, I gave you your medicine. You said you was okay. I'm gonna take you to school, and if the school call home, then I'll come pick you up. And that's exactly what they did. They called home. The nurse actually was like, I want to talk to you. He's throwing up. And I'm like, he's throwing up. When he was home, he wasn't throwing up. So I don't understand. So at this point, I'm thinking the nurse is trying to get over. I'm like, something ain't right. So at that point, that's when we took him to the emergency room. And when we went to the emergency room, me and his dad went together, but he had to go to work. So we were both there together, there for hours, just waiting. When it was time to take Ahmad back, he had to hurry up and go to work. So he was there for hours, but as soon as they call his name, he had to go to work. So it's just me. And we were back there for a while and they kept on saying it was a viral infection. And the last doctor came in and Ahmad was like, my brain hurts. So he was like, okay, let's just do this one last test. And that last test was a scan, a brain scan, a CAT scan. They did the CAT scan, and once they did the CAT scan, like all these doctors came in the room. And I'm just looking at them like, as much as I take my kids to the doctor's office, this don't happen. So they all run into the room, and as they're running into the room, they have like a another like a I don't want to say a sitter. It wasn't a sitter, it's a name for it. They had a lady come in, child care services or something like that, for Ahmad. And they was like, do you mind if we talk to you? Is it okay if we take him in the room to play? And I'm like, you okay, Ahmad? You know, he like, yes, I want to play. So I'm like, oh, okay. By that time, they gave him some ibuprofen. So usually when they gave him that, it calmed down a bit, the symptoms. So he like, I want to play. So I'm like, I'm by myself and I'm in the room and I'm really intimidated at this point because I'm like, why are y'all all in here? Like, what is going on? So they like, we just want to talk to you real quick. Everything's okay. And I'm like, it can't possibly be okay if it was at least 5 doctors that came in, not including the lady that came to take Ahmad to the side. So when they came in, they was like, we just want to talk to you. Do you have any family? And I was like, I have family that I can call, but I need you to tell me what's going on. Like I'm gonna call my family, but I need y'all to talk to me. So they was like, well, we did the scan and we found a mass on his brain. And I'm sitting there like, well, get it out. What does that mean? Get it out. Like, what are you telling me? So they go to say, well, we can get it out, but we have to do emergency surgery as soon as possible. And I'm like, what do you mean you got to do emergency surgery on my son's head? Like, you got to go in my son's brain and take something out? And they're like, yes, we found the mass, but we don't think it's cancerous, so you don't have to worry about that. Like, they tried to make it seem as light as they could. So I'm like, well, I'm just sitting there barefoot. And like, I didn't really know what to say at that point. And they're like, do you have any family that you could call? And I'm like, yep. So they took me in another room, and Ahmad was not there because I never like to see him. I don't want him to see me cry because that was his weakness. He didn't like that. He loved his mother. The first person I called was him. And I'm like, they said they feel a mass on his brain. Like, and he like, well, what does that mean? Like, I'm about to be on my way. And I'm like, I don't know. They said he has to get surgery immediately. So he was like, I'm on my way. The next person I called was my mom. And at that point, I just felt like I couldn't talk. Like, I felt so weak. And I just didn't know what to say at that point. It's very blurry. But I do know that in between me calling my mom and Feds, I felt like I blinked my eye and everybody was there. I don't feel like the wait was long. I got myself together, um, cleaned my eyes up, breathed in, breathed out. I still don't know to this day how I did this. And I went out to the room with him. I was like, hey, what we doing right now? What you coloring? Oh, okay. Well, Daddy and Grandma and them are on their way. Like I don't know how I did that, but at that moment, everything just flew by.
Sarah, you were pregnant with baby number 4, and it was a high-risk pregnancy, from my understanding. What was happening inside of you emotionally?
I don't think I really got to register my pregnancy. Like, I knew that I was pregnant. I found out Amaya was sick very early into my pregnancy. I felt like I just found out I was pregnant. I found out in December, and we were going through all of this, end of January, end of January, and end of January we found out. So I really didn't get the time to process it. I was going through morning sickness, so I feel like that was the only thing that was really connected in my brain, that I was pregnant. Yeah, I couldn't really focus on my pregnancy. I wasn't listening to nothing the doctors were telling me, because I couldn't focus. I just knew that my baby that's here right now, I had to help him. So I really couldn't even process being pregnant. We found out about
Duane,
it before I even knew the gender.
I mean, as a father, as a protector, what did that moment do to you?
It made me have like a defeated feeling. You know, as a father or in a period, your kids come to make things better. You know what I mean? To fix things. And at that moment, I couldn't fix it. I couldn't make nothing better.
Sarah, through tears, you went on social media and asked for one thing: prayer. What made you press record?
What a lot of people don't know is right before that video, my family will alternate between my mom, Keith, my uncle Bart, my grandma, of course his dad. Everybody will alternate, so he was never by himself. It was a point in time where I did not want to leave the hospital at all. And that was around one of those times I didn't want to leave the hospital. My uncle came and he was like, "You need to get out and get some air. You need to get your nails done. You usually get your nails done, go take a shower, go home and take a shower at the house. You in the hospital, like, go ahead, get freshen up, get yourself together, have a you day." And he was saying it, but I'm like, I'm not feeling myself. I'm not feeling like myself. I don't care about what I have going on because my child is sick. So what a lot of people don't know is around those times, I was having anxiety attacks about 3 times a day. And what my anxiety attacks looked like was very heavy breathing, trying to catch my breath, not being able to catch my breath, not being able to talk. So during those times, I would either run into his hospital bathroom or go outside his room. So he never experienced my anxiety attacks. I don't know how, but he never experienced them. On that day, my uncle came and relieved me from the hospital. And I took the back route from the hospital, not the emergency room. I didn't want to be seen in a food court. I didn't want to see anybody. So I took the back route. Usually that's where like the dentist offices and everything is. But I think it was a weekend, so it wasn't busy at all. Walking down the hallway, I just found a wall and I slid down the wall. Like I just slid down the wall and collapsed and just let out a very, very loud cry. I just cried so hard because I just felt like I know I can't give up, but what is life right now? I just didn't understand anything. I was very confused. I was very emotional. I got to the car, but before I got to the car, I met a lady. And to this day, I can't even remember if it was an employee, a patient, a parent. I'm not sure. But as I was sliding down the wall, a lady came and she was like, "Excuse me, are you okay?" And I just was like, and she was like, "Can I hug you?" And I'm telling her yes. She came, she hugged me, and we sat there. And she was like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, I just didn't feel like talking. So she was like, "Is it okay if I pray for you?" And I'm like, so she sat there, she gave me a hug, she prayed for me. And as she was praying for me, I felt like a weight was lifted. Not the whole weight, because I still felt horrible, but I still felt a little bit of a weight lifted off my shoulder. And I'm just like, it gave me a little bit of strength. I told her thank you. I still do not remember who this lady was, but she helped me. So right after that, I got to the car. And when I got into the car, I was like, you know what? I have a huge family. He has a huge family. I don't want to keep on asking questions. answer her questions. I want to be able to, tell this story one time and one time only. And I also want people to pray for me. I didn't want no sympathy. I didn't want no money. I didn't want any of that. I just wanted people to pray for me. I wanted the people to pray for him because at that point in time, I felt like I needed a miracle. I didn't think he was going to pass away, but I just know that my baby was getting surgeries on his head, and this was something that my family has never been through. So I just was lost. And at that moment in time, I felt like that's the only thing I could do was ask for prayer. Like, I don't want y'all to feel sorry for me. Just pray for my baby. I'm gonna give y'all his name. I'm gonna give y'all exactly, the type of cancer. If anybody has anything to say or they know doctors or whatever you could do, help us. But we don't need your money. We don't need your sympathy. Just help me help my baby. That's all I was thinking.
Did you have any idea the video would go viral?
I had no idea. I remember calling my cousin Jasmine and I was like, Jazz, do me a favor, share this. And a few of my other cousins and friends, I'm like, share this video, please just share it. Because like I said, it's a big community that we have outside of the social media family that we gain. It's a lot of people that we know. And I know that once somebody hears of something like that, they want to know what kind, what happened. So I just was like, let me try to explain everything in this video. So if anybody have questions, please don't ask me. Just watch the video because it's a lot for me to keep on explaining. But I would like for y'all to understand what's going on with me. I never imagined it would go viral like that.
What did it feel like to see strangers respond like that with love and support?
It felt good. It was like an amazing feeling. I never thought that so many people could love that didn't even know me. Like, they don't know me, they don't know my family, they don't know my son. On top of the love that we were getting from the family and friends, I didn't know that so many people would care that much. It actually, like, it's times where I would be overwhelmed at the hospital and I would go online and I would just start answering all the comments. And it helped. It was very therapeutic. It felt like I wasn't alone.
For those of you who do not know, my son has been going through a lot. Well, now I'm going to tell you exactly what it is so I don't have to explain it to anybody else. Not that I have to, but I would like for y'all to know because the prayers, that's what I need. I need prayers. After the surgery was done, the doctors found out that my son has brain cancer. Yeah, my son has brain cancer. He's going to make it because he's a fighter and he's very strong. But all I need from everybody, I don't need no money. I need God. So what I need is prayer. More than anything, I need prayer. So now I would appreciate it, if nobody asks me what's going on again, if anyone wants to share this video, feel free to do it. I appreciate everything. All of the prayers, I really appreciate. Words can express how much I appreciate y'all praying for my son. Right now, that's all I care about. So, I have my other kids and I love them to death, but right now, my son needs me. So, if there's anything that y'all can do, anything that I need y'all to do, what I need y'all to do, just pray. Just pray for my son. That's all I need. I don't need no sympathy from nobody. I don't need nothing else. I just need God. So, from the bottom of my heart, if I can ask y'all to do something for me, pray for my baby. He's okay. He's doing very good. He's improving. Just pray for my baby. That's all. That's all I need from y'all. So, thank you, and please, nobody else, no more questions about it. If you need to share this video, I don't care. Thank you, everybody. Excuse the tears, but God is what I need right now. So, thank you. That's all I need. I appreciate it.
Duane, what was it like watching your wife carry that fear and faith so publicly?
I kind of admired it because I don't do good in front of a lot of people. I don't like cameras in my face, so I kind of shy away from that. But I admired it. I thought it was strong, and a lot of support came from it. It was people would send little, get well packages, and a lot of stuff was meaningful. And the support was amazing. Definitely from strangers that don't know anybody.
When you look back at the video now, what does it represent to you?
When I look back at that video, I can't watch that video without crying. I feel so sorry for that girl. To know what she about to go through, to know how hard life is about to hit her and she don't even know. That was like the calm before the storm. When I look at that video, I used to hate when people told me, you're so strong. And I'm like, I don't have a choice. I'm not trying to be strong, but this is what was put on our plate. So when people would look at that video and see strength, at the time, I didn't see strength. I don't like crying on camera. I don't like any of that. So the fact that I was on camera being so vulnerable, I didn't see strength. Now when I look at that video, it's so much strength. Like I want to reach out and hug that girl. I want to tell that girl, like, breathe in, breathe out, girl. You got this. Oh, that video sends chills. I can still watch it, but when I watch it, I cry like I don't know it's me. It's a very weird feeling.
How do you explain cancer to your other children while still trying to process it yourself?
Woo. The hospital had dolls and they had other people to teach the kids that because I had no words. So the hospital had little programs where they had people come in and they would ask us, like, for the siblings, is it okay if they come in and we have dolls that have catheters and we have dolls that are, that symbolize kids that's going through this. Is it okay if we explain to them? They told us, they're like, you can be in a room, but is it okay if we explain to your kids what's going on? And I'm like, yes, please. So I was there while the hospital explained to them what's going on, but I didn't really explain that part to them. They had a lot of workers, and shout out to St. Christopher's. They did very well. They had a lot of workers that would actually come in and teach the kids what's going on with their brother.
Duane, what was one of the hardest nights during that journey?
I would say the overnight stays at the hospital was the roughest days. The not being able to sleep and couldn't sleep too heavy because you had to hear him call you for help. You know what I mean? It was a lot, especially when we had to do radiation also. Well, that was 5 days a week. We had to do that for a month.
Not to mention the rehab before that.
Yeah.
He wasn't allowed to spend the night at the rehab. Well, two parents weren't allowed to spend the night. It was only one parent at a time. But I feel like I had a different answer to that question.
Go ahead.
I feel like my answer to that question, the hardest part of that whole process was around the time he passed away. Having to explain it to Ashay and Ashad. They knew he was sick. They knew he was going, they knew he was sick, but they didn't know it went like that. So they were going to after school program at that time. And when we took Ahmad home in an ambulance, they were still on after school program. So me and my sister-in-law, Rosie, we went to go pick up Ashay and Ashad. And we had to explain to them what was going on. And when we got to the after school program and they got into the car, I had to tell them that their little brother was dying. And when I told them, they were just babies. And they were like, what? Huh? Mom, no, the doctors were supposed to fix him. No, no, no. And they're crying. So the after school program was about 5 minutes away from my mom's house. So in that 5 minutes, and to this day, I regret that I had to do this because I think it was very selfish of me. I had to tell them babies that their brother was dying. And when they went into the room, they can't cry. They can't tell him that he's dying because he doesn't know. They have to tell them that we're having a party for him and we're celebrating. So everybody's coming to visit him for a party. And those babies cried so hard in that car. And when they got out, they straightened their face up and they went in the room and said, hey, Ahmad, we're having a party for you. I think it was very selfish for me to do that to them. They were so resilient.
It wasn't. You were doing the best you could.
That was the hardest part about everything.
When did you realize Ahmad wasn't just fighting, he was leading?
I would say right before his chemo. He got a kick out of being Captain Poodaman. So he'd be like, Mom, cut the camera on. Let me talk to my friends. I'd be like, what? Cut the camera on. Let me talk to my friends. I got something to say. And I'm like, okay. He would get on there. He'd be like, Captain Poodaman. I'd be like,
Oh.
this boy think he famous. He was. But he would get on and he would just take over. Like he just had this little glow to him. He knew he was the captain. He knew he was famous. When he stopped going to school, I remember his school had a day for him. And he was with my mom around that time. And they had to wear a certain color. They always had dress down days. So this one, they did it for him. So they had to wear a certain color, and then all the kids would donate, $1 for the dress down days. And that day it was for kids with cancer. So I think grandpa asked him or something, or either mom asked him, was like, you know what day is? He was like, yeah, it's my holiday. I'm like, what? Where did we get him from? Yeah, it's my holiday. And everybody had to wear blue. So I feel like, yeah, right before his chemo, his radiation actually. No, not radiation. When he was in rehab. When he was in rehab. He knew he was a leader. We got so many videos.
That's why he's in Jersey, right?
When he learned how to walk again. So he still had a little uneven walk, but he had to learn how to walk and go to the bathroom all over again. So when he did that, he was in that rehab. Oh, that's when I knew he was a leader.
What about you, Duane?
I'd say from my experience, it was more so with us. I'm gonna say the parents, because he would see us upset, like see us going through the motions at the time, and he would never let that keep him down. Like, as far as him being the one that was sick and all that, he always made sure we was doing good or we was right. His brothers and sisters, they sad. He always would tell you there's nothing to be sad about. Would smile, tell you a little corny joke, something to make you smile. Like, it's always something. He always did something to pull you out of that depressed feeling. And it really worked. It worked the whole lot. That boy, he had a special heart. He really did. That's what made him a leader to me, honestly.
I still remember him telling me, I forget what was going on, but he was like, Mom, God said you're gonna be okay. I said, what? Did somebody take him to church or something? Where is he getting this from? He like, Mom, God said you're gonna be okay. And then went right back to coloring. I was like, what the? He was the parent at that point.
How did he show strength that surprised even you?
Again, he was like the parent. We tried to hide a lot of our emotions from him because we knew he was going through enough. But if it even looked like somebody was upset, he like, don't you? You okay? And how can I say I'm not okay when he's sitting here hooked up the tubes? You know, he has his head is scarred up because he had a whole bunch of brain surgeries, and I'm crying or I'm upset. And he's like, what's wrong with you? You okay? I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay. Because how can I not be at this point? Whew. How's the baby? The baby okay? Like, the baby's okay. The baby's okay. That boy was something else.
When did you first see that superhero spirit in him?
Right before that first surgery or the second surgery, he was going into surgery, and I was very scared. I didn't know how to talk to him. I didn't know how to talk to him, but I was scared and I didn't want him to see that I was scared. So he hated needles. He would say, Mom, why I gotta get a needle? He always hated needles. But it was this one time I'm like, him and his grandma had already talked about Captain Poodaman and stuff like that. So I tried to use that to my advantage. And I'm like, Ahmad, are you scared? And he like, and I'm like, but wait a minute. What about Captain Poodaman? What is Captain Poodaman scared? And he like, no. Mm-mm. And I'm like, all right, well, what's going on? We got to bring out Captain Poodaman because we can't have a mind scared. Captain Poodaman, come on. Come cheer my on because we ain't having no scaredy cats. That's what he would call people, scaredy cats. So he had everything in him, and I'm like, all right, so what you gonna do? What we calling? Captain Poodaman. And from that point on, before all his surgeries, that's who he would become. That was like his alter ego. No, listen, you never seen them both in the same room.
So that's how Captain Poodaman came to life.
Yep. Yep.
What made him a superhero beyond the cape?
Again, him always caring about everybody else. No matter what he was going through. Here's a kid who had his first surgery and woke up and his whole one side was weak. When he smiled, you could see one side smile, the other side looked like he had a stroke. He never saw himself as being sick. Never. Used to walking on his own, used to doing everything on his own. That has to start over. While starting over, he felt a little defeated sometimes, but he never gave up. Like, I still remember, we had to tell our family to, please stop bringing the kids to visit him while he's at the hospital. And it wasn't us, being mean, but it was the fact that he would have company and he'd be like, Mom, come here, come help me move my legs. Come here, I want to go play with them. And it's like, it's killing me and it's killing him. It's killing us. Like, not only that, it was so many germs from other kids. Even if they were not sick, they would come and they could bring him germs from, just them being in schools or wherever they're at. And he didn't see that. He didn't see any of that. He just looked at himself as a little kid, a normal little kid. So I don't know. And that really amazed me because I'm like, here it is. He's going through all of this and he still wants to be a kid.
How did Ahmad change the way people viewed pediatric cancer?
because that boy would go into surgeries and come out with a smile on his face. He would walk around carrying the IV pole with a smile on his face. He never let cancer defeat him. You would have this was the first time, I know people get cancer and people have cancer, but it was very intimate for us. And it was the first time that I saw a kid, let alone our own kid, with cancer, and the way he dealt with it. If it wasn't for his, his facial features, if you were talking to him on the phone, you couldn't tell that he was going through what he was going through. You couldn't see it. To this day, I don't understand how you couldn't see it. And I felt like, we shared it with the world. I'm the type of person who likes to take pictures. I like to take videos of everything because I feel like I'm gonna forget. So I would record everything. I would take pictures of everything, and it's just like, how you tell somebody something and they don't believe it until they see it or hear it. I felt like I gotta put this up because I can't believe this. Nobody is gonna believe that this little boy has a heart of gold. He going through all of this, where it's adults going through stuff like this that can't take it. And here it is, it's just a little boy. He like a ball of sunshine, and he's getting stuck with needles. He's having to take medicine, and he's feeling sick and nauseous. He's going through everything in the world that would put the average person down, and he's smiling. That made me look at everything different. I'm like, if you could walk around with a smile on your face and you going through all of this, who am I?